Hi guys, it's Emily from Novelle Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my November wrap up part 2. Now I'm playing my hair already, it's typical. Now I'm filming this on the last day of the month, so I've already finished all my November books, and yes, I've been naughty, I've started my December books. Well, tomorrow's going to be a busy day. The day on the 1st of December, me and Chris are finally doing our Christmas shopping. I've got some booktube presents for some friends. That's mostly done. I've got to finish off a few of them ready. My sisters, the kids, got loads of stuff to do. But tomorrow, the 1st of the month, will be busy, so I thought film today. But I'm really excited. Now, I'm afraid November was not the best reading month, and I'll explain why shortly. I've got all the stats to do first, so I'm guessing the first few minutes will be stats. Depending on how quick I talk, I try not to talk too fast. I want you guys to be able to understand me. Yeah, November was a hard month, but between me being poorly, my mental health not being in the best position, it was a hard month. But we're coming out of it, things are improving. My family have helped me loads and really boosted me up. You guys have been absolute rocks. Before I do anything, I really want to say a massive thank you to my booktube besties, Gemma, Chloe, also Jack from Spread Book Joy, she's been amazing. Nikki from Red Dot Reads, I've chatted to, Marissa from Blatantly Bookish. You've all been on the end of the phone when I've had my real rocky patches. When I've been crying down the phone, you've all been there for me. So I want to say a big thank you to all of you. So let's get on with it. Let's hope December is going to be loads better. So the next video that will go up will be my book haul video. I was doing well until I went book shopping with Gemma. You guys know what me and Gemma are like together. So I bought 25 books in December, but like I said, half of them were books that were bought with Gemma. The other was throughout the month. So I bought 25 books. I was gifted 7. 6 of those were from Gemma. So again, she's the reason why my figures I don't really. They would have been a lot lower. On my TBR, physical TBR for November would have been a lot lower if I hadn't gone shopping. But I tell you what, don't regret it. Best shopping trip ever. So I upped my books by 32. However, I read 30 books off my unread shelf, and I unhauled 1 unread. Do need to film an unhaul video, or I may do an extra try chapter tag in December as an extra video, like in Vlogmasy kind of style. So I've got 30. So my October unread TBR was 446. My November unread TBR is 447. So I only was up by 1. My goal for December will be not to go up too much though, because I know I've got some books coming for Christmas, so I'm going to try not to buy hardly any and try again to read off my physical TBR quite a bit. So I did read a total of 36 books this month. The other books were library books or books borrowed from my sisters, so I'm happy with that. Now for the genre bit. I read 1 classic, 2 mystery and thriller, 5 fantasy. Yes, fantasy has gone right up there. Loving fantasy this month. 5 non-fiction. Non-fiction November, not bad. I think that's a higher amount than normal. 10 historical fiction, which I'm happy with. And 13 contemporary. So I read the majority of the books I read were my favourite genres. And like I said, fantasy's sneaking up there. It's doing really well on that. So now for the star rating. I had 3 unrated books, 3 2 stars, which is probably one of the highest amounts ever, 1 2.5 star, 8 3 stars, 1 3.5 star, 9 4 stars, 4 4.5 stars, and 7 5 stars. So in all honesty, my 5 stars was probably one of the lowest that it's been in a long time, but I'm hoping December is going to change that. So fingers crossed, guys. I will link the channels that I've spoken about below, or the channels I've been doing my buddy reads with. I will always recommend them all. They're all amazing. I'll try and remember to link Jack's channel, but look for Jack on Spread Book Joy. She's only been with us about a year or so, and she's bloody amazing. Absolutely adore her. So here's the bit, like I said, 5 minutes chatty. Let's talk about the books. So my unrated book is Calm by Fern Cotton. This is quite helpful. It's a mental health book. It gives you quite a few ideas about things to go. things that make your life simple, things that you can do to make it easier. It's all right. It's not as good as what I would think as The Comfort Book by Matt Haig, but this is still quite a good book. So it's one I would definitely recommend. I've got it. I'm going to keep it, but I've got quite a few mental health books. So I don't know whether I should keep all of them or not. Then my 2.5-star book of the month. No, my 2-star book of the month was The Museum View by Cara Spray. I got this from the library and got it a flop. Clover Quinn has everything she needs, sort of. Her dad, Darren, has done his best to surround him with everything that she might want to be happy. But what Clover is missing is answers. I just didn't get it. Didn't like it. Gemma didn't like it either, so I'm not feeling as bad about that, but not one for me. The library are having that back. Then my 2.5-star book. Oh my God, I feel bad. What makes me laugh is I got sent this book, Tiger by Polly Clark, from Chloe, because Chloe thought I would like it. I thought I'd like the sound of it. I rated it 2.5 stars. She only rated it 2 stars. Yeah. This, at the start, had potential. Frida is a solitary primatologist until a violent attack shatters her ordered world. In her new role as a zookeeper, she confronts a different ward, an injured wild tiger. Now, her chapter was really good. Thoroughly loved it. Thought, oh my goodness, maybe Chloe's wrong. Maybe me and Chloe are different, and I liked it, but she didn't. Then it went into someone else's bit, and I did not like that one bit. Lost it. Didn't care. Went down to 2 stars. Deep in a Siberian range, a Russian conservationist fears that the natural order has toppled the king's tiger has been killed by poachers. So it goes on to someone else's bit, and I got lost. It was boring, didn't like it. At the end, we go back to Frida's story very briefly, and that was why it went back to 2.5 stars, because Frida's story at the end is all right. But still, no. Lesson learnt, listen to Chloe. She's never wrong. Yes, Chloe, you're going to get a very big head. So that's my first of my unhorned. Now to my 3-star books. 3-star, you guys know, is it was all right. Nothing amazing, nothing spectacular. I won't keep it. It was just all right. I liked it enough to rate it 3, but now this is a controversial one. I buddy read this with Ange and Danny. Laura was going to do it, but by the time we'd all told her about it, she didn't bother, because we were like, oh. Now my sister Charlie and Charles Heathcote were like, this is a really good book. And that my Charlie loved it so much. Bloody was bored rotten. 3 stars, it was all right, but God, it was the most slowest paced book going. And I don't like slow paced books. I like character driven books. I like fast paced books. This was really not for me. This was about the epic story of the Joad family's migration from Oklahoma Dust Bowl to the promised land of California. Now they get promised this amazing land when they get to California, that this journey is going to be great, the life there is going to be amazing, they're going to prosper, everything's going to go great. And you go on their journey. And it's about their journey. Yes, there are some characters you like the mother, I thought she was great, but so many people die in this book. And it's depressing as fudge, and it's not something I need. And it's like, it's very historical and very about the writing style was all right. The writing style was all right, but I didn't love the characters as much. Like East of Eden, I thoroughly loved it. Like it was one of my favourite books of the year almost. This was just so slow. If you like slow books, if you like character-driven books, but there was not enough plot. Like I like character and plot, and it was just not enough of it. It was quite boring, to be honest. So bye-bye. Not reading that again. Then I've got The Chocolate Girls by Annie Murray. Now, what makes me laugh is I read this as an extra book because, well, it's called The Chocolate Girls and it's been on my shelves for ages. I've read one Annie Murray book this month. It was like 4.5 stars. It was amazing. But this one was just not enough. It's about Edie, who marries young to escape her unhappy family. She thinks that life can only get better. At the age of 19, she's widowed, and after losing her child from the marriage, she faces the Second World War, grieving and lonely. Then one night during the Birmingham Blitz, an infant mysteriously abandoned during the bombing is handed to her care. Her lively friend Ruby, meanwhile, doesn't want to be left alone in the medding stakes and settles for a marriage with Frank, a man changed by the war. Then finally, there's Janet, the intelligent, kind-hearted, susceptible to male charm. Now, this is mainly, I thought it'd be more about all three girls, about the Birmingham, you know, the Cadbury factory in Birmingham. I thought the setting would be a lot better. But it is mainly about Edie. Now, it's all right. Edie's story is amazing, and it does cover a very long period of time in this book. And it does pack a lot in, which is why it was 3 stars. It just didn't have the loving of the characters. Like, I got annoyed at half the characters in this book, so not one that I'm going to keep. Then another one that had so much potential, The Light Over London by Julia Kelly. This is 3 stars because I've read a lot of other wartime books. Like I said, I'm really into them. And this is a dual timeline and this has got the modern day time in 2017, when Cara Hargreaves discovers a diary from the 1940s. Its contents will change her life forever. And then when Louise Keane meets the dashing RAF pilot Paul Bobs and she's swept off her feet, then Paul is sent to war and Louise, defying her mother's wishes, ends up Gunner Girl in London. But this doesn't have the magic of a lot of wartime books. This book could have had so much potential. It's a newish book, but I just didn't like it enough. Like, it was nowhere near as good as like The Nightingale or a lot of other books set in the war. Just didn't have me, so charity shop as well. My last book that I finished last night was Dear John, and read it in a day. Nicholas Sparks. It was all right, but in comparison to Notebook, it was nowhere near as good. When John meets Savannah, he realises he's ready to make some changes. Always the angry rebel at school, he enlisted in the army, not knowing what else to do with his life. Now he's ready to turn over a new leaf for the woman who's captured his heart. Again, it's all right. Cosy contemporary, just nothing spectacular. So that's the charity shop. Then a book that is controversial because it had potential. And I think, had I gone into this looking at it like, sorry, I'm going to move my other books next. Had I gone into it, I believe I got told by Katie at Books and Things in the end, I watched her video, and this is one of her favourite books. And if I would have gone at it with the knowledge that it was short stories and different interconnecting short stories, then I probably would have rated this a lot higher. Some of the chapters and some of the short stories are really good. Then you've got others that are dead boring. Some of them link in together, some of them don't. And if it would have been about one of the sets of characters in it, you would have loved it. Like the first couple of chapters made me cry. I loved them. The last chapter again made me cry. But the ones in the middle were just so slow. I buddy read this with Guy and Burnout, and we were all like, God, this could have had so much. Like, A Thousand Splendid Suns and The Kite Runner are 2 of the most heartbreaking books I've ever read. But again, beautifully written. This was just nowhere near as good. Like, I felt disappointed in it. And the chapters about Abdullah and his sister Parry, they were really good. There were some other chapters that were really good, but just not enough. Like, I didn't like it. It's going bye-bye. I felt really disappointed in that. So, turn over my page now. Because finally, I'm on the 4-star books. I've just realised I might have actually done a boo-boo on this. Right, no, this is 4 stars. The Water Gypsies by Annie Murray. Now, this is Annie Murray's book that was a lot better than Shot of the Girls. Like I said, it's gone up a whole star. This is again set in Birmingham. I think she sells a lot of her books set in Birmingham. But in 1942, after a childhood of suffering, Marianne Bartholomew has built a life of happiness and safety with her husband Joel and their children working the canals, on the narrowboat, the Esther Jane. But back-breaking work and constant childbearing takes their toll on Marianne. Following the tragic loss of her friend Nancy and another pregnancy, Marianne is forced to take desperate measures with horrifying consequences. The first bit, absolutely. Most of this book is heartbreaking. It's got a lot of triggers in it. Be warned. Going into them, if you want to know the triggers, let me know and I'll let you know. But Joel suffers an accident and Marianne's security is threatened. And then she meets two volunteers, Sylvia and Dot, who come into their lives. And that friendship bit is just warm. And yes, they're all going through heartbreaking bits, but it's so well done and I loved it. 4 stars, but I don't know if to lend that to Mum or not. I don't know if Mum would like that because it's got quite a few triggers. So no, I think I'll just charity shop that. Then the library book that went really well, The Dog Share by Fiona Gibson. Her books are absolutely friggin' hilarious. Absolutely love them. They make you giggle. This is about Susie Medley's having a bad day, and when a shabby terrier turns up at her doorstep, just like Susie, Scout has been abandoned. Although only one of them has been left with a financial mess and a business in tatters, thanks to her ex. Susie takes scouting and her chaotic world changes in an unexpected way. And yet again, the cat's going to be in. This is really good fun. If you want to giggle, if you want a book about pets and about things like that, you are going to love this. Yeah, again, that cat. So that was really good. Again, one of my last books I read at the end of the month, I read this, which I loved. I absolutely loved it. Read it yesterday. I read it over 2 days because it's about 4 interconnecting stories. It isn't as good as Before the Coffee Gets Cold because they didn't grip me as much, but I still absolutely loved this. I'm keeping these books because some of the short stories made me absolutely sob and they were just beautiful. I think to me, like the married couple short story was a brilliant one. The best friend, the one on the best friend, that was heartbreaking. That killed me. So many of these stories in these books makes you cry and makes you be grateful for what you've got, and I just love them. Ange gave me these last year and I love these books. They're just what I need. So yes, that's a keepie. Now we're going to the 4.5 star books. And this is a JoJo Boys book. My sister gave me this, Vicky gave me this years ago, and I thoroughly loved it. JoJo Moyes at one of her best. The 1+1, this is about pretty much a journey, and it's 2 people who have having real problems in their lives. And there's kids in the mix, and there's a pet in the mix, and it's brilliant, it's fun, it's really, really good. It didn't get 5 stars because it's not one I would want to reread because there's some real triggers in this. But it's fantastic. Loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Thoroughly recommend it. It put me off because it's so big. Like it's over nearly 500 pages, this book. But it's big, but it's great. And so you really enjoyed it. But yeah, charity shop can have that as well. Then another 4.5 star books. These are contemporaries that really make me smile and make me grateful. This author is autistic and she's written a brilliant book. The Cotswolds is a perfect retreat for a stressed out teacher, and Lucy has found the right cottage for a bargain rent. All she has to do is keep an eye on Bunty, her extremely feisty 90-something neighbour. And with her dog by her side, Lucy plans to relax and read up on the women of nearby Bletchley Park. So it's got historical fiction because it's got Bletchley Park in the mix. But the village of Little Maudie have other ideas. She finds herself involved in a campaign to save the telephone box library, and it's just really good and it's brilliant. It's the first in the series. I think I will actually keep it. I wasn't going to, but actually I'm going to keep that. I've decided because it's got the second book and I think this, like I said, I might keep that just in case I like the second book. But again, thoroughly enjoyed it. Great contemporary. Actually, that can be a borrow to mum, lend to mum book because mum might like that. Then the next book the mum's going to borrow is one that Gemma gave me last year for Christmas. I didn't realise it's actually a second in the series. So I need to get the first one now. This is brilliant. It's by Anton de Beck, the dancer, who was on Strictly. Set in London 1937. Again, you've got some hard-hitting bits, some triggery bits in it. You've got some excitement and romance and historical fiction. And it's magic for the dancing. And it's brilliant. Thoroughly loved it. Set in the Buckingham Hotel, Vivian Edgerton is desperate to do something worthwhile with her time and her stepfather's money, rather than spending it on frivolity and debauchery. But will this land her in even more trouble? You've got the chambermaid Nancy Nettleton is finally settled at the Buckingham and hopes it soon that her brother will call it home. But Nancy misses the man she loves, a demonstration dancer, Raymond de Grise, who's noticeably absent from the dance floor. Loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Mum's going to be lent that. Then I've got Before the Crown, which I loved. Again, this is about the Queen before she married Philip and their romance. This was a love story, and I don't know how much of it's true, but it was brilliant to see Princess Elizabeth coming face to face with Philip, and especially after Philip dying this year. It's like I want to watch The Crown on Netflix now because this was really, really good. I can't wait. So I don't know if Mum will want that. I might check with her. But that was really good. Now I've got my 5-star books, and I've only got 3 to show you. That's how bad the second half of the month was. One of them was only finished yesterday, and that was picked by Gemma when she came to visit me. So, Gem, you saved my bacon. First one, I don't normally rate my non-fiction, but this is Kathy Glass's book, and it's Oh my God. This really made me sob. Sob, 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 sob. We all know Kathy Glass is a foster carer. And this is one of her earlier books. And this was about a little boy called Michael, whose father, Patrick, is battling cancer and knows he's going to die. And he asks for a foster carer to look after Michael while he's in and out of hospital and going to hospices, and be ready to be there long term just in case he dies. And this is their relationship. And this is where Kathy gets to know Patrick as well as Michael and that friendship. And I sobbed my heart out. Yes, obviously after losing my dad, the hospice scenes were heartbreaking because it brought back a lot of memories. But this is amazing. Kathy Glass books on fostering are friggin' amazing, and I love this. But this is going away because I can't keep it because it made me cry too much. Actually, I was going to do it, show that. Well, whatever I'm going to show, I'm going to save my favourite to last. I'm not going to ask you to pick a favourite for the month because my actual two favourite books of the month were actually in the first half. But I will tell you my favourite in my second half in a minute. The first one is The Mummy Festo, which will be going to Gemma. It's going on her next pile for when we meet up in February. I read this as an extra book. I bought it with Gemma in the summer. She's going to blend it. This is so, again, made me sob my heart out. What is it with books that are making me flip and cry this month? Adaptable, dependable, good at clearing up the mess. Being a mum is the perfect training to run the country. Hell yeah. Don't we know that? God, yeah, last night I could have killed them, I too. When Jackie, Sam and Anna successfully campaigned to save the lollipop lady, a TV reporter asked them if they fancy standing for the general election. Of course it's a crazy idea. Sam's youngest son has an incurable disease. God, that bit was killer. Jackie is desperate for another child and her mum is struggling with Alzheimer's. Again, killer. I went through Alzheimer's with my nan. And Anna's teenage children and her marriage are in danger of going off the rails. Her teenage children have issues, and I'm warning you, again, there is serious triggers in this. Be warned. They have the craziest ideas and never thought they were running the country. I watch Loose Women, not so much at the moment because I'm addicted to Netflix, and you see a lot about the women us women, the things that we do and things that we face. And yeah, I think we all could, do the sort of play a part in the country. I would love to have a female Prime Minister again. I wonder if they'd do a better job than good old Boris. COVID crap. But it is good because it's true. There are things that this government needs. I think there are still things that this government needs to understand about being a woman, about our roles as motherhood and what the difficulties we face. I think they should... I'm not a political person, but some of the issues that are brought up in this book are real, and I think they should be considered in this day and age. I know we're going through the menopause manifesto. We're trying to fight for women that are going through that at the moment. But there are things that the government need to do, and I think that this book really does bring it up into perspective. It talks about hospices and talks about incurable diseases and children's care and Alzheimer's and all these issues that really need to be tackled better. This is an amazing book, but be warned, it is very, very, very hard-hitting. So that's going to Gemma. Now my penultimate book of the month. 5 stars all the way. Probably my favourite book of the second half because it really, again, made me cry again. What is it with, like I said, I didn't realise in this, and it connects. Kathy Brownlee has got characters in this book that are in her other books, and it's bloody good because I love the fact Page Toon does that, and I love it when authors do that. Flowers have always made Fern smile. She treasures her memories of her beloved grandmother's flourishing and helping her to arrange beautiful blooms that brought such joy to the recipients. But ever since the family tragedy a year ago, Fern has been searching for her own contentment. When Fern makes a chance discovery, she decides to start a happiness wish list, and an exciting new seed of hope is planted. I love this. And it's true, we all do need to have a happiness list. Something coming out of something, we're all going through it again. We're all having our own anxieties. We all have our own problems, and COVID really made us all think about what makes us happy. My children make me happy, but there are other things. You guys, if I would have had a happiness list, BookTube goes right up there because you guys and my books are my godsend. They're my loves of my life, my passions, my joy. But I have other things, like I want to get back to my cooking a bit more. I'm like thinking about a happiness list of my own. It did make me think, what would go on my happiness list? Guys, what would you put on yours? Let me know. I'd love to know what would be the things that make you happy. If you want a book to inspire you, please pick this up. It's fantastic. I'm going to read the Merry Christmas book, the Christmas Project book this month in December. But this has also got characters. We've got Ivy Lane, Appleby Farm by this author. We've got White Lies and Wishes. But I believe I need to get the Lemon Tree Cafe. Actually, I need to check with my charity shop owner, because the Lemon Tree Cafe, I need it now, because there's characters on this that were in this book, and there were characters from the Vintage Summer. No, that the other book, most of the characters are from a patchwork family, but I think the Lemon Tree Cafe's got characters in it, and I've got other of her books, but definitely want. So this will go down as my favourite of the second half. My favourite of the first half would obviously be Defy the Night by Bridget Kemener, although it's very much torn with Johnny Be Good by Paige Toon. And then my favourite non-fiction book of the month will still go down as The Comfort Book by Matt Haig. But what have been your favourite books of the month? Let me know in the comment below. Let me know if you want to let me know. You can message me if you want. Let me know what's on your happiness list. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling. And thank you all again for being so supportive. You're all absolutely amazing. I love you all. Bye-bye.